Testing, testing. It's time to stand up. Is that right?
That's right.
Is it time to march?
That's right.
Justice is like running a relay.
Yes.
You run your circle, and then you pass the baton.
It is a crime for people to live in this rich nation and receive starvation wages.
Reverend William Barber is leading the movement to fulfill the unfinished Poor People's Campaign.
We must be committed to building a movement in America that says no more blaming the poor.
Now I'm a Kansas farmer's wife. Kansas farmers are committing suicide. Why? They're usually in debt, up to their eyeballs.
I worked 41 years in the coal mines. I have black lung.
And I'm from Flint, Michigan. You can't imagine being in my footsteps. I have children who have never had the experience of drinking from the tap.
Poverty, broken hearts. I've seen it all over this country.
There is this deep crisis. People are feeling it.
We are here because we're gonna win living wages. We are here because we're gonna win housing rights and equitable education and the right to thrive, not just barely survive.
We're on the path to justice. We might not win tomorrow, we might not win in 5 years, but we're gonna win.
Hello, Morrow Monday!
I had worked for 20 years on doing very grassroots anti-poverty organizing, trying to, challenge this immorality of poverty in the richest country in the world. And I met Reverend Barber, who is bringing just a clarity and a vision.
I'm tired of seeing people pit working class white people against black people against brown people when we need to be allies.
I was taught early on that there's no separation between Jesus and justice.
I'm here as a preacher because I follow this brown-skinned Palestinian Jew who never charged a leper a copay. So don't even come to me talking about following Jesus if you're not standing with the bull.
We stood on the balcony where Dr. King was murdered and vowed to pick up the torch and carry it on.
Until every vote is protected, until every person is respected, we've got to hold it up.
We're re-engaging direct action of all forms, nonviolently, voter mobilization, training from the bottom up. Everybody who sets policy ought to be ashamed, and we're going to put it on the map in a powerful coalition.
Send everybody a note of thank you.
I joined the Poor People's Campaign because I just know that everything that's happening to us isn't right. I was homeless for 5 years. I made choices that got me where I was, but what did I have to choose from? There's nothing for anyone to do in this town except get high. I want to give hope to people that have zero hope.
I'm hopeful when I see the people coming together around the nation. When I see all of these movements, whether it be Moral Monday, Black Lives Matter, the Fight for 15.
This is Dr. King's dream, people. They are going to hear us.
Our democracy is in trouble.
Reverend William Barber was arrested during a rally at the Legislative Building.
Don't stop!
I have a disability. I have severe ankylosing spondylitis, and I've had to learn how to live with that. If I get arrested and handcuffs go on, I think about falling sometimes. Sometimes the pain is very intense. But then I see other people who come on walkers who have other issues, and then I get re-inspired. You get something my grandmama called the can't help it. You just can't help it.
Let us march on till victory is won.
Once your family enters, there are risks to that. I very seldom talk about them in the public arena. I have the death threat. Some of the stuff that has come in, this one says, I've got you in the dead pool. This is nothing compared to what people in the past have had to deal with. So we fight on.
If we don't address this issue of poverty and low wealth, we will never energize the 100 million Americans who stayed home in 2016.
I will vote.
If you mobilize 2 to 10% of the poor around an agenda, you can fundamentally shift every election in this country.
Let your voice be heard. Get out and vote.
I want you to know that when hands that once picked cotton join hands of Latinos, join hands of progressive whites, join faith hands and labor hands and Asian hands and Native American hands and poor hands and wealthy hands with a conscience and gay hands and straight hands and trans hands and Christian hands and Jewish hands and Muslim hands and Hindu hands and Buddhist hands. When we all get together, we are an instrument of redemption.
It's better to die having fought for justice than to live and stood on the sidelines and watch injustice have its way without a challenge. Every morning, there's not an alarm clock that wakes me up. It's purpose. My name is Reverend Dr. William J. Barber II. I'm the pastor of Greenleaf Christian Church, and I've been working as one of the co-leaders of the Poor People's Campaign. I would say that my work, growing out of a deep religious and spiritual foundation, to help people look at public policy through the lens of our deepest moral values, both constitutionally and religiously. How do we talk about public policy without just getting into the normal left-right discussions? And then moral activism. What does it look like in the 21st century to be engaged in addressing the immoral economic, racial, and other policies in our culture at this time? The current work I'm doing is always intersectional. That's why it's hard to separate it out. So I'm a pastor, but as a pastor, I'm involved in a body called Repairers of the Breach, which is designed to organize and train both clergy and individuals in what we call moral fusion organizing, particularly in the South and around the country. And then as an outgrowth of that, I'm involved in the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for a moral revival. We believe that the issue of systemic racism and poverty and ecological devastation, the war economy, and the false moral narrative of so-called Christian nationalism are interlocking injustices that have to be addressed by poor people, poor and impacted people, coming together and organizing with religious leaders, their advocates, and even people who may not be of religious faith, but they believe in things like establishment of justice. The Moral Monday movement started in 2013 when North Carolina, because of gerrymandering and voter suppression, elected a supermajority. In the first 50 days, they did everything they could to go backwards. They passed a bill in the Senate which changed 40 parts of our voting laws, the most expansive voter suppression law we had seen since Jim Crow. 17 of us went in to the legislature to protest. We said, this is our bill. We said, we're not here Democrat or Republican. We're here to challenge the immoral direction of our state. They arrested us, and the next Monday people came. The next Monday people came. The movement was ahead of us. In 2016, we won our legal battles around voter suppression. We took those moral constructs along with our deepest religious value, and invited people into a movement, regardless of race, creed, color, or party. And thousands upon thousands joined. And it became the foundation of a movement that's now being used in the Poor People's Campaign that has spread around many other parts of the country. My drive comes from a number of places. My father, early on, taught me that the only purpose of life is to make a difference in the lives of others and to stand up for what is right and just and full of love and full of compassion. I also get a lot of inspiration from being among the people. I pastor and I see what people go through. When folk are denied health care, I have to bury the people that die from that. When I visit homeless camps and see people who fought for our country being forced to live as homeless, it moves you in a deep place. This is a re-engagement gift. This is a re-engagement acknowledgement. People will even more believe you have something to say, and more importantly, a vision.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Praise the Lord. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praise unto our God, oh Most High. Come on, everybody, clap your hands and let's give God some praise. It's a good thing to be in this service. One more time. Are you glad to be here?